Hello everyone, welcome to Anna with Plants. My name is Anastasia. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. In today's video, as you can see, I have a lot of plants in front of me and we are going to be doing a chatty repot to all of these. So this is the mix that I have in front of me. There's hoya, alocasia, and anthurium. We'll see how far we get. I really want to catch up with you guys. I feel like it's been a while since we just kind of had a chatty repot sesh. Let's just do some plant chores together. Now, where are we going to start? I think I want to start in with the hoya props. Those are probably going to be the quickest, and then we'll kind of move outward. So let me just reposition the camera a little bit and we will be right back. All right, you guys, hopefully this angle is a little bit better. The tripod is on the table, so it does shake slightly. Hopefully it's not gonna be too bad. I just kind of wanted a better angle where you can kind of see me, but then also be able to see what I'm doing. Let me know if it's a little bit too annoying with the tripod on the table, and I will go ahead and move it off. So we have all of our hoya props. So there's gonna be 5 that I want to repot, and let me get all of my stuff. All right, so the first one that we're gonna pot up is gonna be the, oh my god, I almost forgot what this was called, the gunung, gading. And I don't know if you guys remembered, anyone who happened to see the video, I mentioned how I didn't think that all of the leaves were gonna hang onto this prop, and they're all here, which is amazing. So love to see that. Here are the roots. They grew mainly on the bottom. I think we're gonna need a little bit of a deeper container. This is just like a 3.5 inch. And I'm gonna cut the top off of this vial. I totally forgot that I put this sticker on here. I think this used to house like an anthurium rehab or something like that. So that's why I put it on there. So I do have a surprise for you guys. I got engaged actually on Thanksgiving. I actually had a feeling that Cody, my boyfriend, now my fiance, was gonna propose to me that day. I'd be very curious to know, of all of you guys that got married, which one of you knew that the proposal was gonna happen on a specific day. It was recorded. I will go ahead and add it to the video. I won't play the audio just because it has a lot of my mom basically screaming in the background. I won't add the audio just to protect your guys' ears. Essentially what ended up happening was this is the Madara green edge, and this one finally rooted. It took a while to get going, but it finally did root out. Just a little background, my boyfriend and I have been together for next April, it'll be 10 years, which is a very, very long time. We do realize this. This needed to be put into a pot a long time ago. It just, for us, was never really the right time to get married. You know, we were students for a long time, we were long distance for a long time, so getting married just really wasn't part of the equation. And now moving in together a couple years ago, this year we bought a house together, we're like, okay, like now is more of an appropriate time to get married. So I did know that it was going to happen before the end of the year. I don't know why I thought Thanksgiving. I think just because maybe my mom happened to be in town, and I was correct. Cody did say he chose that day because she was going to be there, and my mom and I are very, very close, so that was really great for her to be there. However, something that you need to know about my boyfriend is he is the worst planner. I mean, if I can generalize, men are typically not good planners, but he really takes the cake in his lack of planning. And his plan for that day, the extent of the plan, was just to pick a date. He had no plans on what he was going to say, what time it was going to happen, how it was going to happen. To him, the plan was good enough just to pick a day. This is how bad of a planner he is. And when the day kept going and he did not propose, I was like, okay, maybe it was not going to happen. And so after dinner, when we were all talking around the dining room table, I think my mom brought up the fact of, oh, do you still have the ring? Because the ring that we decided to get married with is actually her ring. And the reason why I don't have the ring is because it's getting resized because she has the world's smallest fingers and I don't. So that's why I don't have it. I will go ahead and show you guys what it looks like. Of course I will. But it was her ring and she custom made the ring. She combined 2 rings she had before on a previous marriage. So it was her engagement ring and the actual ring, and she combined it together and she chose the design. So she was just very concerned that my boyfriend might lose it, and knowing my boyfriend very well at this point, I think her concerns are well-founded. So she just made this off comment over Thanksgiving dinner of like, oh, Cody, do you still have the ring? And he said yes. And then I kind of like turned to him and I go like, oh yeah, like where is that ring? I didn't exactly ask like, oh, where's my proposal? I just like asked after the ring. And then he kind of turns to me and he was like, well, actually, I had meant to do this earlier, but you know what? I think I'm just gonna do it now. And then he like takes the dog and then he goes upstairs. And I'm like, okay, so it's happening? It's happening, all right. And so I had an overwhelmingly, oh my Lord, what is this? Are these roots? This is the largest hoya root I have ever seen. These roots look like anthurium roots. This is very strange. This is the argentea princess, I want to say. Is that correct? It literally did not root for the longest time. And that is bizarre. And also it doesn't seem like the roots are on there very well. So I hope they don't fall. Oh, and that is why. Okay. What is that? That is so strange. I'm kind of disturbed, honestly. Okay, so the roots are gone. There are some beginnings of roots along the stem, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pot it into this container in my substrate, and maybe high humidity will help it out. That is what my hope is. Anyway, he's there with our dog, and he, you know, gets down on one knee, and he proceeds to make probably one of the worst engagement speeches that I've ever heard. However, this is totally typical of him. So even though this is the worst speech ever, he said things along the lines of like, oh, we've been together for almost 10 years, but I want to spend more than 10 years with you. Just, I don't know. It was very on the fly. And despite the speech being bad, I did tear up. I did start crying. Obviously, I said yes. And I'm engaged. I did appreciate the fact that he decided to do it in a private place. He did it in our home around, you know, people that I love. I thought it was very well done. It was a really lovely, lovely Thanksgiving. I don't feel any different. I don't know if you're supposed to feel different. Oh my. I don't know if you're supposed to feel different after you get engaged. Those are all the hoyas I repotted. I don't know if I named all of them, so I'm just gonna go through them real quick. This is the gunung gading. Madara green edge. This is a carnosa. Undulata splash. This one needs to get treated. I found some pests on it, so I will treat all these after I film. This is the CV blessing and the argentea princess. So that was real quick, so we will continue pushing on. Since I did quite a bit of hoya, I am just gonna continue on the hoya train. This is the last hoya that I have to repot today. I rebought the Hoya New Guinea Ghost because I like to feel pain, emotional pain. I had a pretty medium-sized, very beautiful New Guinea Ghost and it rotted out of nowhere, and I tried to revive it, prop it, and it didn't work. So I bought another one, and this one I got off of the US Hoya market for 20 bucks. So not bad. It's in soil right now and it's very well rooted in soil, so I'm just gonna get her out of here and into something slightly bigger. So this is like a 3.5 inch, I believe. So that was pretty much our Thanksgiving. I hosted at my house. I do cook for Thanksgiving. I've been cooking the Thanksgivings the last, I don't know, maybe like 5 years or so. And I've learned a lot over cooking Thanksgivings that you wanna pre-make as much as you can the couple days before Thanksgiving. So the day of, you just basically have to reheat it or just like toss it in the oven to bake. You do not want to spend all Thanksgiving in the kitchen staring at food, because trust me, I've been there before. I have definitely been there before. The roots look good. I just kind of removed most of the substrate. Oh, also these are obviously used containers. I really can't be bothered to wash containers. I know that's definitely good practice because you don't want anything that's like a potential pathogen to carry on onto your next plant. I totally understand the logic of hygiene and cleanliness. However, I am in a phase of my plant collection where I frankly don't care, and the fact that I'm even repotting this right now should be good enough. Any other expectations of standards should not be placed on me at this time. Thank you so much for your understanding. But really, guys, I need to purge. This is a thing that I have really been wanting to do, and I know I keep saying that I'm gonna count up and see how many plants I have, and I will count it. I wanted to do like this fancy Excel sheet, and I just don't have the time this year. This month is so busy for us. I'm not gonna have the time, so I'm just gonna count up all of the plants, and then I'm gonna pick a number that sounds good to me, and then I'm just gonna get rid of everything that I don't want. And that is definitely up around New Year's. That is the plan. I don't know if I'm gonna do it exactly at New Year's or maybe the beginning of January, but that is a video that I want to film. That is what I want to do. I want to cut back a significant amount of plants in my collection. So this is all done. Moving on to the next plant. Actually, let me just get rid of this. Let's do an alocasia. I think this is the only alocasia. So I bought this on Green Escape as an alocasia snow, but I think it's the odora batik or something to that effect. I think it's time to upsize it. The leaves have been roughly the same size, and there is also a little pup in this container too. I've been thinking about what's been going on with me in terms of my plant collection this year, and I think this is the year since I started collecting plants that I've hit a wall. As well-intentioned as anyone might be, this surprisingly has less roots than I thought it did. And it is also in a plug, so let me get the plug out of here. As well-intentioned as you might be in collecting plants, I think everyone gets to a point where they just hit a wall. They go overboard, they overshoot, they get to a point where this thing that brought them joy and happiness and fulfillment becomes a chore, it becomes stress, it becomes this thing constantly over their heads on everything that they need to do, but they don't have time doing because life, it just stops being fun. Like the hobby stops being an activity for enjoyment, and that is the whole point of a hobby. That was rotted. I wonder if I want to separate them. I might keep them together just because the root system isn't super extensive. I'm gonna redo this mix because it's a little bit too dense, and maybe that's why a couple of the roots were slightly rotty. I think there was only like one top root, but all the other roots seem fine, so I'm just gonna get it into new substrates. So I've been thinking about the relationship of plant number and quality of your collection. Like how many plants can you have in your collection while still maintaining your personal quality standard? And I think that is an inverse relationship for the majority of people who do this as a hobby. I'm not talking about the commercial plant business, that is completely different. I'm talking about just your average hobbyist collecting plants to enjoy them. As the number of plants you collect increases, I feel like at a certain point, the quality of your collection will then start to decrease. It's like this inverse relationship if you're good at graphs. At one point, everyone hits the point at which the quality starts to decline while the number is still going up. And I think to survive in this hobby, you need to acknowledge when you hit it and correct the number of plants so you can maintain your quality or get some of that quality back. Is anyone picking up what I'm putting down? Am I just overanalyzing here? That is how I've been feeling this year. I got to the point where my graph of plant number and collection quality, they hit that point on the x-axis where it's like, nope, too many plants. Time to go back down. And so this is what I need to do to basically make me feel like I'm an okay grower. Okay, this plant is repotted. Moving on to the next one. So this is a repot I've been wanting to do for a long time. This is a maranta, and oh my god, what is the name of this? White veins? Is this a white veins? It is actually much bigger than when I initially got it from Green Escape, but because it's been drying out so fast and I've been keeping it dry, it's got some crispings. So I want to get it out and just see what the roots look like and if it needs an upsize, and just basically what's going on in this pot. That's just basically where I'm at right now. I've been slowly getting better. I'm like slowly crawling out of the hole. I'm still at this point where I just don't feel good about my collection, and in turn that is making me feel bad about my skills as a grower. When I really want to beat up on myself and I'm having that kind of day, I'll be like, why do you have a plant channel? You're not even good at growing plants. Like, there are so many other people that can grow plants so much better than you can. Why are you even trying at this point? Like, that is honestly, on my bad days, how I kind of feel. This is another case where I thought the roots would be a little bigger, but I think I'm gonna upsize it anyway because maranta roots do tend to grow quite well. It's also part of a plug, but the more you pick away at the plug, you're just also picking away at the roots. This is what the root situation looks like. It is hanging on for dear life. I don't know if you can see that. I am also gonna pick off some of the dead leaves so this looks a little bit more presentable. That is just straight real talk. I picked one hell of a year to start this YouTube channel. If I would have picked it like the year before, I think that I would have had a way better growing year than I did this year. Granted, I did add some really badass, really cool plants to my collection this year. So, I mean, I am proud of what I do have, but in terms of like how I'm growing them, yeah, that is room to be desired. So I'm gonna get rid of all of this, and then I'm gonna get a little bit of a larger pot, and we'll be right back. This is a 4-inch container. I think it'll be happier in this. It won't dry out as quickly. But I do want to put some leca down on the bottom. We hit 3K. That's honestly way past the goal I had in my head of where I wanted to be at the end of this year. So despite how I feel about my collection, my thoughts on my YouTube channel are like the complete opposite. I'm just honestly a little dumbfounded that people want to watch me, but I'm not complaining, that's for sure. So welcome to all of the new people. Thank you so much. In terms of new content, I want to do some Christmassy stuff, that's for sure. I love to go with the seasons of the year. I love Christmas. I know I'm a white girl, but I do love Christmas. I do acknowledge that not everyone feels that way. For some people, Christmas is an incredibly hard time of the year, and for us last year, because Cody lost his dad, it was one of the worst Christmases we've had together in basically ever. It was really sad. This year, however, I want to change the tone of that. I want us to have a happy time during the season, so I want to bring that to you guys as well. So regardless of whatever you guys are going through in your personal lives, I want this month of whatever I put out. Hopefully it'll take your mind off of whatever that's going on. That would be my goal. And if I help a person accomplish that, even one person, my job is done. Okay. So we are looking good. Now we are moving on to our anthurium. I just have this in like a Harry and David box. I'm just gonna go ahead and do the two that are in different medium, and then I'm gonna do all the moss in one go. This beauty right here, this is, what is it? So this is from NSC Tropicals. This is an anthurium Carla blackier crossed with a portillae. It's so stunning. It did have 2 leaves. The other leaf did fall off. However, I am just so excited. I actually got this plant on Palm Street they auctioned it off, and I got this, I think, for $90. Honestly, a plant this size showing these characteristics, it is a seedling, but it's not like a seedling, if you know what I mean. I was happy to pay the $90. A couple of you guys watching the live stream on Palm Street actually saw like my name and you watched my video, so that was cool. And we have rot. Lovely. That is okay. Well, I'm glad I'm getting it out of the substrate now. This is what's tricky when you leave it in for too long with a medium that you're not used to working with. All kinds of fun stuff can happen, like rot. It is a little bit worse than I should have caught this earlier, if I'm being honest. It's not the worst. I don't think I'm gonna lose all of these roots, but we are gonna lose a good amount of them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start to pick off the parts that are rotted. It's so funny how when I first started in plants, getting root rot was like one of like the scariest things that can happen to you. And I mean, it's still not fun, don't get me wrong. Now I've just dealt with root rot so many times that I'm just like, oh, okay, it's just literally another day. Oh, also, I think there was like some spider mite or flat mite damage on the leaf that I have, which is honestly not that big of a deal. I'll go ahead and treat it after I'm done. I don't even remember what I was talking about before. I'm just out here blabbering. I think the rot kind of threw me off. That would explain why this leaf was a little floppy. I always thought it was just because it was used to high humidity over in Florida where it was growing, but it was rot. That makes sense. When in doubt, always check the roots. I might actually want to do a hydrogen peroxide soak on this, since this was quite a bad case of root rot, because I really love this plant and I got it at a great deal, in my opinion anyway, and I want to hold on to it. Rehabbing in moss for anthurium, I found, is really effective. I've been either using that or stratum, and they've been working pretty well for me. I've been able to save quite a few anthurium that way. These are all the roots that I'm going to decide to keep that look okay. I am going to go ahead and soak this in water and hydrogen peroxide, and we'll come back to this plant later. Okay, that was not a pleasant surprise. I don't like to be surprised like that. I hope this one is gonna treat me better. This, I don't think I ever showed on my channel before. I got this one, when am I ever purposely trying to buy plants? I wasn't intending to buy a plant, but I saw this emergent, and I'll go ahead and pop up a picture if I saved it. I really hope I saved what the emergent looked like, but it was like bright red, like a bright blood red color. It was beautiful. This is by Creaky Shed, and I really do love her hybrids. And this is a Pap Lux F2 crossed with a dressleri, the RG type. The substrate looks pretty dry. Hopefully that's not rotted. Oh no, the roots look good here. Okay, great. I don't know if we're gonna get to all of the anthurium, if I'm being honest, because I've been recording for about an hour and doing plant chores for that long too, and I feel like I kind of hit a wall the closer we get to 2 hours of either recording or doing plant chores all in one go. I kind of get a little bit antsy, stir crazy. I don't know what the right thing to say is, but I'm kind of hitting that wall right now. So we'll try to speed it up a bit, see how far we can get, but thank God no rot on these roots. They actually look really good. That means I can pot it up in my substrate. So let me go ahead and grab a container. Gonna add leca at the bottom. So while I've been blabbing about how my Thanksgiving has been going, I want to hear how your guys's, well, of all of the people that are in the United States, how your Thanksgiving went. Did you guys have any drama, or was it just a nice, good old time? I wasn't even gonna mention this in this video, but now's a good time as any. So my grandparents lived in Russia before they immigrated to the United States. And when did they move over to the United States? It's been well over 10 years. They actually want to move back to Russia, like as soon as possible. They went to the embassy in Texas. It's the last embassy that's open. And they renewed their passports, and they want to go back to Russia sometime next year. Which makes me incredibly nervous, if I'm being honest, because obviously there's a war going on, and just everything coming out of Russia at the moment for people who live there has not been good. Like, obviously they're not going to get drafted because they're old. I don't know, the stability of the country it's not there. And I am concerned about that for sure. And they're also not in like prime health either. They're not like in poor health. Their health has declined since they came to the United States. Like my grandmother, she was actually diagnosed with type 2 diabetes a couple years ago. I guess she was just eating gallons of ice cream on her own, and we didn't know this. I'm a little worried, if I'm being honest. So there's part of me that's very concerned about them. There's also the part of me that if I have to only see how their move would impact me, it just would make me feel sad, because I had imagined them being here for the rest of their lives. So just knowing that there are going to be me getting married, they won't be there for that. You know, if I ever have children, they will probably not be there for that. So just for that aspect of it, just talking about me in this, that makes me sad. Okay, this plant is all done. Okay, I think I'm gonna do one more plant. This one really needs to be repotted. We gotta wrap it up, unfortunately. So this plant is the Carla dressleri. I believe that's the correct order. And I got this from Hoya Hole about, I want to say a year ago. The growth was going well until it rotted, and then I put it in moss, and it has since made a terrific comeback. And now we have all of these roots escaping down to the bottom. So now I think it's time to finally repot it. Yeah, but anyway, about my grandparents, I worry about them. I have my own reasons why it would be sad to see them go, but if I were to completely take my wants out of it, because obviously it's not always about our feelings when it comes to other people's actions, I know that they never really connected with America with how they had hoped. Like in the over 10 years they've been here, they actually never learned English, or not enough to actually carry on a conversation, let's just say that. So I don't think really their hearts were ever in this country. I think their hearts always belonged to Russia. And now that they're getting older, you know, they're getting towards the later half of their life, who am I, or who is anyone to tell them how they should live the last half of their life? And I think, especially for my grandfather, he never liked it here. The prospect of moving has made him so happy that I can't deny what would make them happy in the long run. I just hope for their safety wise, it'll be okay. That's about all I want to say about that. I'm not a super religious person, so I don't really pray or anything like that. However, of any of you guys that are watching that do pray, please keep them in your prayers. If I can be so bold to ask you that favor, it would make me feel better knowing that there were maybe something greater than all of us keeping watch over their safety, if you get the drift. So overall, pretty good. There were a little bit of rotty roots, but I think those were just the old roots that were in the moss, and everything that kind of grew since then has stayed very healthy. And these are what the roots look like. Pretty good. I'm just gonna keep it in the same size container because I don't think it's anything super crazy. I just want to transition it out to my substrate. I know Black Friday just happened. I first got into anthurium, I want to say around this time last year. I remember I bought a lot of these anthurium, like this seedling right here, I bought off of Hoya when he was having his deal. I think it was 30% off, something like that. And I didn't really see that many great deals this Black Friday. But then again, I wasn't looking for any of them. I checked around just for curiosity's sake. I don't know, did you guys notice anyone having really crazy deals this last weekend? Because I don't remember there being really any crazy ones. And you'll be very proud of me, or well, I guess I'm proud of myself, that I did not buy a single plant over Black Friday or any time that weekend. I actually haven't bought a plant in over a month, I want to say. Yeah, it's definitely been a month because I need to get my collection to a good place. I can't even justify buying new plants anymore to myself. No new plants to show. Just trying to get everyone happy again. That is my goal. So that guy is done. I do have this Carla port in my hydrogen peroxide soak. I'm gonna leave it for a little bit longer and then I will repot this just off camera later today. So that's the end of the video. I really hope that it wasn't too shaky. If it is, I will definitely leave the camera off this table in the future. Thank you so much for just hanging out with me, catching up. Please let me know what's new in your life. I want this to kind of feel more of like just catching up as friends, not me just blabbing about myself this entire time. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video and that you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.